Amy, it was really good to hear the other day how you're using the Power of Two report within Cascade. Can you just explain a little bit more about it, what sort of situations you use it in, and how you actually go about putting it to use?
Sure, thanks, Richard. So the way that I use the Power of Two tool within Cascade is to really help resolve team conflicts and so that we can keep moving forward. We're a small team. We have a lot on our plate, and in terms of having these conflicts, it's important we move through them quickly. So what I will do is I will set up with, if it's two individuals that are having some disagreements, I will set up with them, send them a PDF of the Power of Two. So one person on the y-axis, one person on the x-axis. And then I also send them, also from the Cascade tool, the bring need and the personal insights, not only of themselves, but of the other person.
Okay.
And what I ask them to do, and the instructions are great right on the Power of Two page, is they write at each intersection. So for example, I'm thinking one of my colleagues I use this with, and at the first intersection would have been responsibility for me, my number one, and futuristic, his number one. And how can those two work together? And what is an area where they might clash? And once an individual fills out the grid all the way through all the 5x5s, then I, as their strengths coach, I work with them individually. So I'll meet with them and review their Power of Two individually, talk through some of the challenges they may be having, and then I bring them back together. And so then the three of us will talk through that grid. Now, one thing that I started doing recently is when I go through with both of them, I start with a clean Power of Two. Okay. So that where we can take a look at what they have come up with, and then I also can put into each of the squares, what's the resolution? Now, what are you gonna do about it? What is our plan? And that essentially becomes a contract between the two of them on recognizing how each of them work as individual, but then now that partnership, how are they going to work together using their strengths going forward to make sure the conflicts don't happen again.
That's a fantastic way of using that report on there. And have you had any sort of special moments where people have really seen a new insight, perhaps about themselves or about the other person, which has made a real difference to their relationship together?
Absolutely. We have an individual on our team that's high in analytical and restorative. We also have someone on our team that's high in maximizer and achiever. And those two, they really had an aha moment that one person needed more information to be sure they were solving the problem, where maximizer and achiever, they were looking for this efficient process. They felt they had the best path forward and they wanted to get done and tick that box. When they realized that often someone high in restorative and someone high in maximizer, that there can be that level of conflict. They worked through in real detail. I mean, I just sat back as a coach. Once they had the information in their hands, they helped to resolve how they were going to work through that. Another instance was someone that was very high in command and self-assurance, with someone that it was actually quite low in self-assurance, but high in achiever. And so each one of them wanting to take the lead, and there was conflict. And they were able to have one of those, oh, that's why you do that. And since then, both of those situations I just described to you, we haven't had the conflict since. As a matter of fact, they actually joke around sometimes on the team meetings saying, you know, put your achiever away a minute. We need to look at this another way. And so people now find that humor and lightening it up and bringing it up a level, because they bring strengths in and then they're able to start collaborating at a different level.
That just sounds so fantastic, the way you described that. And that was obviously had a big impact on the two individuals. What impact did it have on the rest of the team?
Well, whenever you have two people in a meeting that have conflict, it puts a stress on your meeting, and it puts a tension in everything everybody else says, because you don't want to push that button. You don't want them to go off again. And they also, those two people that are having the conflict tended to be left out of conversations because people didn't want to bring that conflict into whether that was their initiative or that was their meeting that they were hosting. When you can resolve those issues and you can move through them quickly, especially from a strengths perspective, everyone leaning into their strengths, everyone having the goal of resolving the conflict, you ease that tension in the team, and you will find from an engagement perspective and a productivity perspective, you will see your engagement and productivity increase.
And that's the ultimate goal of where we're trying to get to.
Absolutely. Like I said, we're a smaller team. We have 15 in our team. We have multiple initiatives that we're running. There's 20 initiatives on our initiative tracker right now. 18 of those involve more than 2 team members, and we need to move through those conflicts quickly so that we're able to meet our deadlines for those initiatives that we're running.
And from a coach's perspective, how beneficial and how helpful was it to have those reports at your fingertips to be able to pass on to those in the team?
Oh my gosh, it just makes all the difference in the world. And it's very satisfying as a coach when you can get to those aha moments, or you watch the 2 people that have had the conflict start to resolve it on their own. So from a coaching perspective, I can't imagine not having these tools. I think I learn as much through the situation of watching the conflict resolve as the 2 people that are working together. I can't imagine not having the power of 2, the bring need, the personal insights. I can't imagine not having those at my fingertips.
That's so good to hear, and it's a great application and a great way of using the Cascade reports. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you coming here today and sharing your experiences. Thank you.
My pleasure, Richard. Keep it coming.
Will do.